Hey guys, Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the brand new Playmates Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Muckman figure. Now this is from the CGI cartoon and basically what he looks like in that. So very cool. We've been waiting a couple years for this figure. So just taking a look at him, he's in that same packaging we've seen from the Turtles line. You just got the 4 turtles on the top right. You can see Muckman clearly displayed here, and it says Muckman, ages 4+, Muckman pile of living garbage. So very gross, but very cool also. There's a little bio of Muckman here, and it just tells you what side he's on and his weapons. And then you see some updated roster of different characters that you can get. The only really new one is, besides Muckman, is this Crimson Leader figure. And then there's a few new Turtles figures, but nothing too crazy. So pretty cool looking figure. He's a little tough to find. So far I believe he's only been released in Target stores, which seems to be a trend for some of the newer figures like the Super Shredder and the Super Turtles. So if you are looking to get one, I would recommend looking at Target. Otherwise you could just get him off eBay. The prices seem to have come down. So let's go ahead and take him out of the package and get a closer look. Okay, so here's Muckman out of the packaging, and he looks pretty cool, man. There's a lot of sculpted detail in here. Matter of fact, I think this is one of the best sculpts they've had. They really didn't miss anything. The paint details, of course, don't really show off the sculpted detail quite as good as I would hope. But that's pretty much like what we're used to at this point, so I'm not really that surprised. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details. So starting with the head sculpt, he's got that signature banana on his head, which we've seen, you know, from the old Muckman. And you can't really see it, but he does have an eyeball tucked back here. It's just very dark, but he does have two, you know, both eyes are in. Now, if you've watched the show, this one is the Joe eyeball. Which originally was actually a side character, like a little friend of his, but in this representation he actually pops out of Muckman's head, and he's a bit of like more of an imaginary friend that he talks to, and it's kind of creepy. I kind of wish they could have implemented that somehow, because Joe Eyeball was such a cool little character, but I guess it was just too tough for them to figure out. But yeah, he is not present in this figure. You can see the tongue's all stuck out here. He's got the white teeth. He's got this little shirt, I guess remnants of, you know, the human version of him, whatever he was wearing. He's got the little fishbone here, which is painted white, which is nice. But there's a lot of sculpted detail going on here. It's just, without seeing it painted, it's kind of hard to tell what every little piece is. But it does look really cool. I like the center, how like his stomach area is completely, you know, hollowed out. You can see like his spine here. One of my favorite parts of this figure is the added addition of this like skeleton hand. It's kind of gives it more of like that creepy horror look, so I think that's really cool that they did that, and it goes well with that little like the spine. I'm not sure, this looks like it's like guts or something, so I don't know exactly what that is, but it's pretty creepy looking. You can see there's like this like lard bucket on his foot, and you can see his individual big, you know, his big feet and his toes here. And then if you look at the back, like I said, these details are so good, it's a shame they didn't paint them, but you can see it looks like either like a boot or like a Converse shoe in there, and you can even see the soles kind of coming off. You can see like a pumpkin on this other foot, and then there's like a little bag here. There's a bottle, it looks like maybe a headlight right there. But there's just so many cool little details on here. I really like this little frog that they have on his leg. It's so random, but it is very cool. So yeah, I mean, overall, the sculpting detail on Muckman is so good. And, you know, there is people that have customized this to paint it a little bit more accurate to the cartoon. Now, as usual with the Playmates toys, the articulation's a bit of a mixed bag, so there's some good things, some bad things. In terms of Muckman, it's really hard to really give him that up and down movement, so there really is nothing. He can't look up, he can't look down, period. What he can do is he could swivel his head almost like a counterclockwise or clockwise. That's pretty much all he could do. So he can go all the way around. Besides that, that's it. That's all he can do with his head. You can go really far out with the arms, so he's got good reach. And you can also go all the way down. You can even go in a little bit to where he can almost hold both hands together. He can go up and down pretty good and back. Same with the other arm. But there's no elbow articulation, and there's also no wrist articulation on either arm. There's no stomach or ab crunch, and there's no twist at the waist, which is kind of expected considering he's missing his stomach. So there's nothing, you know, in this torso at all. The legs are the biggest problem. The way this is made, you can only go forward like you could do a real high kick, and he can go back about that far. And he can move the leg forward and back, but since the leg was sculpted to look from the side, you can never get this foot to go forward like this without actually turning his body. So there is no rotation to get this foot to turn like this foot, which is really silly. And then you have the vice versa. You can't turn this foot to look like this foot. So again, you have that same articulation, you know, you could do a big kick and out to the side, but you cannot turn this leg. So it's really, really weird articulation. But, you know, he can move. That's a good thing. But yeah, the articulation definitely could have been better. Now, usually I would go over the accessories at this point, but unfortunately there is no accessories. He comes with nothing. Originally, Muckman was going to come with one of the, like a sewer lid stuck to his foot, just like that vintage version had. But they cut it from the final version, and I was actually thinking it would be really cool if they would have just gave us a smaller version of this sewer lid. And this is one that they've actually used with some of the more classic collection, like the black and white San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and I believe they might have done them for the comic versions that they released, but he might be able to fit on these just in case you have one. So if you want him to just go on a sewer lid, if you have that classic collection, he looks pretty cool. So for the first comparison, here's the new Muckman next to the vintage Muckman. And there's definitely a lot of cool similarities here, little things like the big eyeball here, the stomach being kind of open, and of course the banana peel on the head. And he does have a similar outfit, and it's even kind of like busted open, just like the new one is. A scale comparison with some of the Raphael figures. Over time, they released many different scales and versions. So here's the Playmates Toys original Raphael. Here's the NECA Toys Raphael, and then the Playmates Toys Classic Collection Raphael. These bad guys just aren't as big as they should be, and that's kind of like a common issue with these. And here he is next to Karai and the Shredder from the CGI cartoon. And again, you can see how Muckman really should be a lot bigger than at least Karai. And even Shredder, really. So they just don't scale these side characters right. I like the height of Shredder because he is a little bit taller than the Turtles, but Karai definitely shouldn't be that close in height to Muckman. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah. Here he is next to his fellow Mutanimal, and this is Mondo Gecko. Now if you take him off the skateboard, he actually does seem to be scaled decently well next to Muckman, but I still think Muckman should have been much bigger. Here he is next to the movie version of Casey Jones. And for the last comparison, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Old Man Logan figure. And Logan is actually on the short side for a 6-inch Marvel Legend, so you can see Muckman's pretty small. Alright, so that's my review. Overall, I think he's a really cool figure. If you're a fan of the show, or if you just like Ninja Turtles, or if this hits a little bit of a nostalgia thing with you, especially if you were a fan in the 80s and 90s, I would say definitely buy this. It's definitely a really cool, creepy figure, and it goes perfect with your Turtles collection. So thanks for watching my review. Please like the video if you liked it, subscribe, leave a comment or question, and until next time guys, see ya.